everybody. On today's Madge Unmuted, we're going to talk about narcissists and horrible bosses and how they're kind of one and the same sometimes, or mostly the horrible bosses are narcissists. Whatever, I don't know. Just a bunch of people that suck, and we're going to talk about them. And I got myself all riled up, so you can come on in and get riled up. Yeah, come on in and get riled up too on this episode of Madge Unmuted. Come in, the water's in turmoil.
It's riled turmoil.
And welcome to another episode of Madge Unmuted. I am your hostess, Madge Madigan. Welcome, and with me as always is Fitz and soon to be Chris.
We'll see if he shows up.
We'll see if he's in no call, no show. You know how
Madge.
those are. Hi, how are you? Always good to see you, Fitz. I got an interesting topic today that I arrived at going down a rabbit hole of sorts. And I think the one that I landed on is, well, the one I started with actually was people that I want for them to go fuck themselves. So, yeah, I was like making a list.
Do we have enough time?
Yeah, really.
I don't think we have enough time for my list.
And so I was like, that's funny because my list is growing every day. I don't know if it's because I'm turning 60 or what. I'm just like, I got a whole lot of get off my lawn going on right now. But yeah. And then that made me arrive at narcissists. Oh, yeah.
And you had one in your life, didn't you?
Oh, I've had a few.
Your ex-husband a narcissist? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And ex-relationship.
Yeah.
And I've had several bosses. And
oh, God, yes.
Oh, my God. This one boss literally ruined me for a few years. I had severe anxiety for about 2 or 3 years afterwards.
Same.
He had screwed me up so bad. And it turns out that we ended up having a support group for people who worked for him.
I believe it.
Because he was so bad.
I believe it. Remember, I've mentioned my first real job when I worked for the cruise line. And like to this day, I still have dreams where I wake up and I've been dreaming that I was working there. And I wake up and I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not working there. And I haven't worked there in 20 years. Almost 20 years. Well,
yeah, this place I worked was 10 years ago. And I'm still like afraid to talk about this person because you know, I don't know, he'll never listen to my stuff anyway. I don't care. He touts himself as a celebrity and he's not. Like nobody outside of that area knows who the hell he is. But he is so manipulative and hostile and angry. And what is that noise?
It could be Chris showing up to the podcast. It could be him. There he is.
There he is.
I've been here the whole time. You've been ignoring me.
And we can't hear him at all.
Yeah. Hi, Chris.
How are you?
Hey,
thanks for joining us.
What's happening?
The mic over there. Why can't
You look
I hear
lovely.
You? Oh, there you
ravishing even.
Yeah, there
Thank you. So do you.
We were talking about narcissism.
We're talking about narcissism, and look, everybody, Chris is here now.
I know, right? Perfect.
No.
Those two things are not tied together at all.
No.
Oh my God, Christopher, I have to tell you something. One of my friends, she's one of my besties, and she listens to us religiously. She just loved you, and she's like, if you ever come down to visit here, she's gonna fangirl out.
Oh, nice. I am coming to visit. Yeah. It would have been easier for me to come to Dunkirk today because I was in Orchard Park.
Oh,
the park of Orchard, so it probably would have been quicker to go there than come back.
I just saw.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I just saw a list. It was online. It was like the top or the worst 10 places to live in New York, and Dunkirk was like
Dunkirk.
I think it was number 3 on the list.
No, why?
And I
Dunkirk is the cutest little
those lists are
we
ridiculous.
got our problems.
Well,
Yeah, but
got
it's a
problems.
nice. Isn't it like a nice bedroom community on the lakeside?
On the lake, yeah.
No,
Oh.
no, actually, it's a city. It's a small city, and there's a very high poverty rate right in the city, and so there's lovely homes on the lake. Everything on the most places, everything on the periphery is just lovely and wonderful, and costs a lot. But then they have just let everybody fend for themselves in the city, and then raise all our taxes, and then everybody is like, no, just let those people, whatever. I don't know, whatever. I'm not going to get into it. I can't. I'm not one of those people that can be fuck the poor.
No.
Sorry,
No.
I just can't. Can't.
No. And they're raising your taxes like a lot, right?
84%.
But who's counting?
Don't even get me started.
Oh, no, I won't.
On this place. So, anyway, we're talking about narcissists. That's like much more enjoyable than talking about Dunkirk right now. So anyway, I was telling about an old boss that literally used to like browbeat us and guilt us into things. And if we found out that, and he used to go through people like weekly because he was so difficult, people would quit. And then come to find out, when all of us would talk, he was telling us all the same things about the other person. Like, to me, he'd say, oh, can you believe, oh, John's so stupid. He's just a loser. He'll never go anywhere. But you're special. You're the one I want. Then he goes, yep.
And you're like,
yep. And he was just manipulating all of us. And
people? Yeah. Manipulation. Yeah.
Oh, he's malignant narcissist. Yeah. So, I mean, that's like over the edge. That's one of those, I watch the ID channel faithfully. And they're always talking about, narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, and
oh my God.
That's one of
Speaking it, you just reminded me. Did you see the curious case of Natalia Grace?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
What a fucking weirdo that father
that
was.
Dude, I know, that's what I was.
Yeah.
He is such a freaking drama queen.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Oh my God. Like, he was like,
that? That's exactly how he looked.
Exactly. No, exactly. That's not even an exaggeration. He's like a cartoon character.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I don't even know. And so one of the things I looked up about, can narcissists be cured or helped or changed? But the one thing I'm thinking of is, a narcissist never thinks they have anything wrong. A narcissist is never wrong.
Right. So how do you cure someone who's perfect?
Yeah. I don't think you can.
Yeah, you can't.
Right. And so, because I've had varying degrees of narcissist in my life. And I did kind of notice that, anything from just maybe being completely self-aware of other people.
Right.
Like one of those people you get in a room and they'll just tell you, they'll talk about themselves ad nauseum, never ask you a question, and literally never take a breath. So I know people like that. And then I know people that actually plot and scheme, and, everyone in the world is they're the victim, and everyone in the world does them wrong, and just like psycho behavior. So,
Don't you
it's
think
like
our society sort of breeds that narcissism, though?
Absolutely now. Absolutely
with
now.
social media and all of that, and vacations and their perfect lives, and they've created this whole persona.
Right. So I've had a internal conflict about that. Like, I took broadcasting in school. I always wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to talk about stuff, make people laugh, that's what I want to do. But then, you know, now everybody has a podcast. And for a while I was like, you know, people like, oh, you got to promote yourself and talk about yourself and do this more. And I'm like, I can't do that. I do now, but it's
really
more
hard.
just like,
it's really hard, right?
it is, but I don't
Yeah.
even say, but I don't, if you notice, I don't ever say like, hey, I'm so hilarious. You got to watch me. It's Madge. You know, I'll be self-deprecating and be like, you know, hey, watch this. You'll get a chuckle or whatever. But I can't.
Yeah, I think that's really hard to do.
It is.
But for some reason, we've created these kids that think that they just have to, you know, promote their perfect vacation and their perfect life and the perfect picture and the perfect, you know, it's just.
Well, yeah, there's people that, I mean, you go out to a restaurant, bar, or whatever, there's just people constantly. And, you know, with me, I need to, like, you'll see me, I don't post stuff for days, or I'll go on like a vacation or whatever and I'll get like one picture just because I I don't want to take pictures. I forget about it. I don't want to be like, oh, look at me. So anyway, that's really hard to do. So this person, I don't even know if I want to go. I don't know if I want to talk about them because like, this is how much this person worries me.
He's so vain, he probably thinks his podcast is about him.
Exactly.
Is he a listener?
You know
Are we
what?
talking about a listener?
Fuck no.
Oh, no,
Fuck no.
Well, no, I didn't know. If maybe it was somebody who
No.
wrote into you or something. Yeah.
No. And no, you know, here's a prime thing. And yeah, I was very easy. I don't know if it's a Catholic in me, but I was very easily manipulated into thinking that I did something wrong. For a long time in my life, you know, so it was always like, oh, I must have done something. Like we joked about in the last episode of how, you know, I thought the dress code was about me, you know,
right.
like what did I do wrong? And so, fuck, I just thought, oh, so I was, you know, because that's my ex-husband was always like, you know,
You're
you
the
do
reason
this, you do this,
everything's
you don't
right.
do that. Yeah, you're the reason I drink. You're the reason I got a speeding ticket. You're, you know.
Sounds like a country music song, sort of.
You're the reason for the season, Madge.
I know. I'm just the reason for everything. Bad.
But is that Catholic guilt, sort of that shame?
So, well, that's what I think it is. So now I so wish I had, by the time I finally stood up for this guy, well, anyway, I got to go back to the example. So it was, one of my kids was a senior in high school and they were at Mercy, and Mercy has Mercy and McQuaid both have several different, you know, special events leading up to that. She was graduating, and then there was a ceremony. I think it was a parent. They used to have this parents' lunch. Well, they probably still do, but it's one of the last days of school, and all the seniors go to school wearing the T-shirt of the college.
Oh, that
they're
going to
go
to.
Yeah, or that they were going to. Yeah, I was at this thing, and I told him I was going to this thing, and the next morning, I'm at the thing, and he's calling, and he's calling, and he's calling, and I'm sitting in the the gym at this breakfast, you know, and finally I could leave because they were like introducing all the girls, you know, they're watching my fucking kid do a thing. So I finally, like, I'm like, oh my God, there must be, you know, was he locked out or whatever? And finally I go out in the hall, and I call him back, and I'm like, is everything okay? Yeah. And he's like, no, I just need whatever. And I'm like, I told you I was at this thing today. I'm at my daughter's school. I didn't say it even. I basically said it just like that. I'm like, I told you I wasn't going to be in. My daughter, who's graduating in a few days, they're having a ceremony, and I'm at this. Can this not wait another 30 minutes? Well, yeah, I don't know. He blew up at me. And then kept calling. And then he calls again. I'm in the car, and he's yelling at me saying that his kids lived away I lived on the other coast, and he would go on about how he would give up everything and wouldn't be able to see his kids all summer long. Now, mind you, that was a load of bunk, because he didn't even see his kids when he was home. But anyway, so it's just there's so many lies on lies on lies.
Like peeing contest with you, and anything that's going wrong with you, they always one up it. Like, so you have a bronchial infection. Well, I got a lung removed last week.
Tuberculosis.
Yeah, I got tuberculosis.
That's what he absolutely did, rather than say, "Oh my gosh, sorry, it's your kid's once in a lifetime thing." Because we used to talk about, our kid. I have 3 kids. He has 3 kids, and he would say, he yelled at me saying, telling me, "You got to go to your daughter. That's so insensitive. I can't see my kids. I give up all these things for my kids. I blah, 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 blah."
And you're like, oh, whatever.
He
BFD, pal.
yelled at me because how dare I say I'm at my kid's thing when he can't see his kids? So yeah, I've worked for some narcissists. I've been involved with some narcissists, but and that was my question. Like, how do you? A narcissist never thinks they do anything wrong, so
yeah,
they don't think they have anything to fix.
They have to be convinced otherwise. They have to see the light, which I guess it's possible. If there's some, I'm sure there's been a narcissist at some point in history that's been
that's been recovered.
But yeah, somebody that's actually, I think my ex-husband kind of got softened. But that was, I don't know, a whole bunch of factors and therapy and shit, but whatever. But here's another thing. So, me and watching my Bravo shows. So everybody online on social media has got something to say about something. And it's always like somebody's relationship, whatever. And these people on social media, they know everything. They know everything about these people's relationship, and they know that she did this and he did that and whatever. And it's like, bitch, you weren't there. You don't know. All they show is like, some people, yes, you can get a vague idea of, geez, I think that person is like, there's a documentary right now called something about fame or demons or whatever. I don't know. It's like on Hulu or ID.
It's on Max.
Yeah, is that what it?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Hollywood Demons.
Yeah.
Hollywood
That's
Demon.
what it is.
Yeah.
And there's one about one of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills from 10 plus years ago, and it turned out that her husband was really abusive, and that was my first thought when you saw this guy on the show, and of her always being like, "Oh, well, I can't go because he's got to, it's like, okay, I called that one. But most, other things. Okay, so there's these 2 people, and I mentioned them on the episode when I was talking to Rich Corsi. This one girl is Paige DeSorbo, and she's on Summer House, and she's part of Giggly Squad, which is this hit runaway podcast, and they're doing a tour now, and they played at one of Rich's theaters. So anyway, she was going out with this guy, and then she broke up with him, and now I think she's maybe just turned 30 and he's 40, and she broke up with him around Christmas, and now they're playing the episodes that they had filmed back then, that you can see this story play out, and everybody thinks they know that, oh, she's a narcissist, oh, she's selfish, oh, she blah 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 blah. And I got triggered because what actually I believe happened to this, in one episode, she was starting to get these severe anxiety attacks, panic attacks. She lives in New York City, he lives in Charleston, and he's always like, I want to get married and whatever, and she just hit it big. And she's also a fashion influencer, And but like a real one. I mean, she has all kinds of fashion shows and things, and I don't know, whatever brand she represents people. So she's got a lot going on, and she's like, everything she ever wanted, like that she went to college for, is now coming true. And he keeps, saying, well, when are you going to move to Charleston? She's like, I don't want to move to Charleston. Like, this is my dream. She like grew up in like Schenectady or something. So she's from this area, and her parents are there. I think she's an only child. She's like, I don't want to move. I want to live. And this kind of, it struck a chord with me, because I've had to move several times to follow the guy, and that my parents moved away, so I couldn't even go home and get my shit together. I had to go do something because they were going away. So anyway, this girl, you can see it play out, that he's making her feel like shit when she was going to go on tour for like 8 weeks or something. And he's like, well, what about me? What about me? That like, when are you going to be done? Just don't forget about me or whatever. And I've had somebody else do that in my life. But instead of being like, babe, oh my God, your dreams are coming true. You go do you, I mean, would you guys?
Yeah, which is what your relationship should be about,
right?
Is encouraging
exactly.
you to succeed and follow what you want to do. And,
exactly.
Right. And he's given her, the guilt about,
what about me stuff.
Yeah. And like any guy that I've been like, my ex-husband, I fucking told him, yeah, I'll get induced with our first child. I'm late. Jack's late, so I'll get induced so that you can go off and live your dream, because your junior hockey team made it to the Nationals in St. Louis. So I'll go ahead and have the baby early so you can go.
Oh my God.
Jeez. Wow.
But that was his lifelong dream. He played junior. He played at Clarkson. He played, hockey was his life, and this was a dream come true. I'd probably do it again, because I knew how much it meant to him, although I don't like how he paid me back. But anyway, but like, that's what I'd be like, oh my God, live your dream. So that's like when I decided to move down here, I'm like, I am just not going to listen to what anybody has to say. I am so tired. I am going to do this because that's what I want to do. And that's where I am again with like moving to New York. I am hell bent. I'm going to at least live part-time in New York, because my 3 kids are there. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life not near my kids. I'm not going to spend any more time away from my kids. My parents moved across country, and I regretted that all the time. And I'm not going to miss out on this. So anyway, fuck everybody who's like, oh, what about me? Well, you got to come here. I had to go to Colorado with him because he got a job. Another one, I moved down to North Carolina with him because he's going to grad school. And then another one, don't even get me started. It was all about him, and now, and God, thanks, John, for being understanding, because so many people are like, how come you didn't move to Fairhaven? You moved further away. And I'm like, because I want to. I'm sorry.
Right. And you have to live your life, not for other people.
This is the first time in my 60 years that I have chosen a place to live because
you want to. Yeah.
Because I wanted to. Other than when I moved back to Rochester.
And you bought your house.
When we got divorced. Because we got divorced in Colorado, and I moved back to Rochester because I wanted to. But that was also because he had already moved back here. And I just needed to be where, like, okay, at least I know where everything is. I know people. I can go back to our old doctors, whatever. Anyway, I feel so much for this girl, because it's always like, oh, the guy is, he's the breadwinner. He's got the big job. He's got the higher paying, whatever. People have no problem with that. But if the woman is having her dreams come true, and she wants to put, like, she's only, she just turned 30, I think. He's lived his thing. I'm sorry, they're just on two different paths. Let her do her fucking thing. It's bad enough that we have to give up everything when we have children or made to feel guilty or somehow work that out because, the guy never fucking has to be flexible. Sorry, maybe some guys do. So, I don't know. I feel so much for this girl because they're giving her so much shit because she chose herself over this
The
relationship.
audience, the fans are giving her shit.
Is that who's doing it? Yeah.
Oh yeah. All these people on social media, they're like, she's a bitch. She used him, and I think it's like what we're talking about the last time, where I said, people are like, he used me. She used him. He promised me this, and it didn't happen. That's what dating is.
Yeah, because that's totally different. Dating is
being in a relationship before you get married. You're in this. You're going to see if it's going to last. You're going to see if you're going in the same direction. You're dating. Like they've been dating for 3 years. Going back and forth. She loved him. She wanted to be with him, but all of a sudden her career took off. And now she's choosing her career and they're like, oh, she used him for fame. I'm like, bitch has got her own stuff going on. She didn't need him for anything. She was a star separately on this other show before she even met him. That's how they met, because they were both on Bravo shows. Anyway, sorry. That's my soapbox for today.
Don't you think that's sort of what society expects, though, that the women are just going to acquiesce to?
Of course.
To whatever the guy wants. And I mean, maybe
Absolutely.
Hopefully that's changing somewhat, but I think, especially when you were first married, it was just expected that you were just going to do.
Absolutely. In 1991, I knew that was my role.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I
not in
knew
2025.
Right.
No.
And that's what, my kids are 31, 28, and 26. And they're not getting married anytime soon, not having children anytime soon, because they're doing their thing. And I'm like,
do your thing.
You're
doing your thing.
Do your thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Which is, although, PSA, I don't recommend not doing your thing until you're 60, because it's a little fucking harder now.
Right. Do it early if you're going to do it.
Yeah. Because honestly, it's really hard. I'm trying really hard, but there's so many fucking opportunities that are gone. Yeah,
that you have to get when you're in your youth or when.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And also, nobody wants this dried up old thing.
Oh, stop it. You are moist as anything.
I'm trying. Oh my God, thanks. I'm supple. I'm trying to keep the faith and be like, oh, I can still make my dreams come true. I can.
You can.
My
absolutely
dream is to have this podcast and have really interesting people on, and to make people laugh and to make people think. Maybe get some wisdom, like I talked about today.
Yes.
Ladies, it's okay if you choose yourself.
That's right. Yes.
So, and I can't believe we're still having to, tell women that. In this day and age,
but because not only I think society still doesn't encourage that.
Oh, it is.
Well,
and
it's constantly coming back to that idea.
It is.
I saw something that said that they want to give mother medals, like mothership medals or something.
Yep.
And it's the same idea where they want women to get back into the kitchen. They want women to focus on raising the family and not have a career. And it's like, are you kidding me? In the 21st century, anyone could offer that up as look, if that's what the woman wants to do, if her goal in life is to be a mother and have a family,
then
good
absolutely.
For you.
Yes.
Good for you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
No, what about the talking about the possibly giving $5,000 to every
cash
woman
bonuses
who
to have more children.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
$15,000, please.
Right. Yeah, pay them for the ones they already had.
And I raised them on by myself.
Yeah.
So
right. Yeah.
I should get
because they want it to go.
pay.
They want to keep the, like you said, the barefoot and pregnant and.
Well, and I do sometimes have a struggle in my head that like a lot of new issues came about when women started working outside the home. And, because we were such a society that was set in the man goes to work, the woman stays at home. So you don't have to pay for childcare. You don't have to pay, for this. You don't have to worry about the kids going anywhere. You don't have to worry about, like them. Our parents didn't need 2 cars. They didn't need, they didn't have to pay for daycare. So but we wanted to do what we wanted to do. So, yeah, I got a little bit of like, well, that presented problems because now, like me, when I was a stay-at-home mom, my ex-husband was like, you need to go to work. You're just basically like, I'm a freeloader.
Oh,
I'm like, I'm raising our kids. Oh, yeah, he actually said one day that I said, because he used to bitch at me all the time. I'm like, so are you act like I have no value because I don't bring in any cash. And he's like, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Like I raise our children. So like if I got a job, I'm not like a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or a CEO. I would probably be, an admin assistant or, working in a desk job in a TV station that made minimum wage. I would be paying for daycare. Do you know what I mean? Like my entire paycheck would go to daycare. What's the fucking point?
Right. That was my exact situation when I got laid off from my job that I moved up to Rochester for. I was there for 11 months and then I got laid off and I had to be a stay-at-home dad because I couldn't find a job that made it worth.
Right.
Because it was like I was making around how much I was putting the kids in daycare for. And it was like, what's the point? I'd rather be with them instead of having strangers do it so I can go to work and not make any money just to put them in daycare. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, and that's what so many families go through now all the time.
Anyway, I forget why I even got to this point. What the hell was I talking about? Narcissists. Her Paige DeSorbo choosing herself.
Being triggered by that, yeah.
Yeah. So but the other thing too is I just don't get, like, I get it. Like you said, everybody has their own values. There are women that choose, they want to be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. But my ex thought I was being lazy. But Exhibit A, my 3 children now.
Yes.
So they're nice and successful. So other people's values, you want to stay at home. You want to be one of those obedient wives. You think your husband rules the thing, or you're a guy that you're going to be the stay-at-home guy and she goes to work. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own thing. Just don't fucking bring it down on other people and chastise people. And like, that's what my whole theme in my life is now, is like, just leave other people the fuck alone. I mean,
live and let live.
Granted, there's some stuff. Yeah. Right. Granted, there's some stuff. I mean, if you're causing harm to other people, then no. But I don't know. They're just up one side and down the other of her, and it's mostly women. I never have understood that internalized misogyny, and I think it's like I don't know, I almost the first thing that came to mind was like a pick me girl, is that she'd be one of those to say to the guy that like, oh, if I was your girl, I would quit my job and be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably exactly why they're saying it, because they're like, oh, look, I would come down to Charleston.
And right.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. And because there's been a lot of that over the past several years with, there's a lot more prevalence of misogyny from the higher ups. And I never understood these women that were just like, especially the ones that like some woman was accusing, ones that be accusing Trump of sexual assault, and they go right to the, oh yeah, she's trying to make a buck, or she's a whore, or she just she wanted it, she what, you know,
victim blaming and
shaming,
right, and I'm like,
no,
you're a woman. You're, God forbid, I hope something doesn't happen to you and then no one believes you.
Right.
And so real quick, talking about narcissism and whatever, choosing yourself or whatever. I'm also at a tough time. Yeah, I'm 60. I'm trying to, do work, whatever. That's hard enough as it is. But like, I am also so done with being abused at work. And I used to hang on to every scrap of work where I was, especially this guy I talked about, he was having me work 80 hours a week. I was, yes sir, no sir, he was just so abusive. And I've had that several times by just a guy. Well, one of them was a woman, just awful people, just narcissists. And I would just take it because I needed that job because I was a single mom. And now I'm like, I really want to do the, you know what? No, not doing it. I know I need the money, but this is not worth my
pride more than that,
Right.
I
my
agree.
pride, my sanity.
You're like, no, that's not good for me.
Right.
You have to do what's good for you. You absolutely do.
So I'll just be poor the rest of my life.
That's hard to do.
Please subscribe.
I remember being in that situation when I was just like, when it's all you have, or when you're going to be in a really bad spot, you sometimes you have to take that. You have to just like get through it.
I have had
the worst.
I remember on more than one of those jobs, because I would usually, because being a single mom, they know you need it. I was doing marketing and they all knew better than me. So, and they were usually always a single as in the lone person of a company. And a lot of times people that do this, not you, Fitz, a lot of people that do that is because they don't want to or can't work with anyone else.
Yeah. Like a sole proprietor sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. A lot of them are usually narcissists because they know better than everybody else and they're just going to do it. And,
they're micromanagers.
Yes, right.
Exactly. Right. They're micromanagers. They hire you to do something, but yet they have to,
up your ass the whole damn time.
They tell you, like, I remember
I know, right?
One guy I would do his web content and he would insist that he saw what it was before I put it out, which, okay, whatever. But he would want to see, like, he would just change.
Just for the sake of changing.
Yes. It would be like a chapter. And this other woman, this woman that I had, she would, and she knew better than everything. And she just wanted to change something to a capital or, move this, and it's just doing shit for the sake of doing shit. And, I remember having jobs with some of these different people, and either it was the relationship I was in, or, my marriage, or even my parents. And I would be in tears, absolutely crying. If anybody else has ever had a boss made you cry on the regular because they were so abusive, let us know in the comments. But this, I would cry, and each of those important people in my life would be like, oh, but you can't leave. You don't have another job. You've got to stay. But these people, my dad telling me, oh God, no, he's telling me, take all this. Oh, I had a woman scream in my face once, and that one I did quit because she screamed in my face. And and she had just come into the position, and she knew nothing about the company even, and so she screamed in my face, and I was just like, nope, I'm gone. And so anyway, they're like, well, you can't quit. You don't have something else.
Oh my God. Yeah. So
keep going and being abused. I mean, I get it. I had 3 kids, but at the same time, there's a point where you just cannot, and you shouldn't.
No.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't have to be subjected to that. Anyway, it's not like, 1892 where, the manufacturing foreman is, beating on your little kids.
They locked us in.
Right.
They locked us in while we're working, just in case, the place goes
Right.
up in smoke, then we can't get out.
Exactly. The triangle shirtwaist factory, wasn't that it?
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
literally, that was a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
That
God.
was the...
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, so now that I've made myself even more fucking in a worse mood today, talking about this. Anyway, never again, but, so I guess I'll be poor. Right now,
Well,
my boss is a real asshole.
Oh, jeez.
That's me. I'm the boss.
That's you.
Anyway,
You better
okay.
give yourself some time off.
Yeah,
And a
I do. I
bonus.
got to get out of here. Exactly. I'm going to New York City tomorrow.
Nice.
To see my chillins. Yeah, and go to a
Awesome.
gala. My son's
Gala.
on the board of directors for this philanthropy. So
Nice.
please subscribe while you're here, and give me money. And now subscribe to Madge Unmuted. Chris and Fitz, thank you so much.
Yeah,
and we'll
thanks.
see everybody next week on the next episode of Madge Unmuted. Bye.